Welcome, horrible people, to the Horrible Opinions podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Barbarian. And as always, I'm your host, Kenny.
I'm Daniel.
I'm very excited, Ryan.
Okay, boys, let's jump right into this. Who wants to tell me about Barbarian?
Not it.
Daniel.
Ah, fuck. Okay.
Daniel, please.
Okay.
Give us that synopsis.
Okay.
Pretty please.
Okay.
Just read us the quick synopsis on
Nope.
IMDb. That's all the info I want.
No. You're not getting off that easy.
Yeah. I would prefer it be filtered through his mind.
Yes.
Oh God, no spoilers.
Okay. Lady comes to Detroit for a job interview. Arrives at night. Stays at Airbnb. Spooky things happen. The mix-em-ups with Airbnb. Spookums happen. The man she was staying with at Airbnb disappear. Later, another man show up. Turn out Airbnb more than it appeared to be. Spookums. Done.
Oh my God.
So
Okay.
Okay. You know what? I think he hit all the details.
Look, hit the high notes. I made you guys watch the trailer of this before you watched the movie, which I did too, but I've seen this a while ago, so I had to
Trailer's
rewatch this.
very misleading.
Yeah, what did you guys think the movie's going to be about from the trailer? Like, what did you think was going to happen?
Go ahead, Daniel.
From the trailer, I thought that the Airbnb was a trap to get people in there, and then kidnapper people would take those people and then like reprogram them as slaves.
Amazing. That is okay.
Okay.
That's an amazing read. Okay, I thought I was with you on the trap. I thought it was a setup to get people to come into this house that was going to turn into a prison somehow to feed them to some kind of mutant child.
Okay.
And there are scenes in the trailer that are edited with sounds that aren't in the actual scene in the movie. Like in the trailer, when her door gets opened, you hear footsteps like rushing away. But in the movie, there are no footsteps.
That's true.
Right. You just hear that giggle. And don't let me forget, I have a question about whether like a subplot was cut out of this later.
Goblins?
Yeah.
Always goblins.
Always goblins.
My thoughts were that, again, it was a trap to get people in there. Like, we're all on the same page with that. That seems heavily implied. I was concerned we were going to go a more hostile route where we were just straight up trapping people in there and we were just going to torture them. But it was getting rave reviews from everyone who watched it. And the hostile type stuff isn't that mainstream popular enough horror for it to get that kind of review. So I didn't think that was what was actually going to happen. I didn't expect her to make it out of the house after the first night. As soon as that happened, I realized this is not what that trailer told me it was going to be.
I was not expecting Justin Long to just pop up. For us to switch perspectives like half an hour into the movie.
Right. The best thing about this movie is that it has like 3 real acts in it, and each one I was not expecting to happen.
Some people would be pissed that a trailer could be so misleading, but I think watching the trailer before watching this movie is better than going in blind.
Yeah.
Because I think it further sets you up for just all the different directions it's going to go.
Yeah.
Agreed. The trailer definitely set some expectations, and then, once she leaves the house in the morning, changes exactly what I thought was going to happen in this movie.
I did not think she would get out of the house.
I was very surprised.
We had that long ass setup. Okay, so she wrote right off the bat, we roll up to the house. It's a dark, stormy night. This, young woman is alone, trying to get into the house, the Airbnb she's renting. She's got a job interview the next day. She opens the key lock. There's no key in there. She's looking around. She sees movement in the house. She knocks on the door. There's someone inside the Airbnb that she's trying to book. And the person comes to the door, opens up, and it's a very hunky Skarsgård standing there. And this was awesome casting for those of us who have eyes and realize that Skarsgård has been a notable horror actor.
I saw this actor, and I'm like, wow, I don't know who this guy is, but his awkwardness is great. I bet I wonder if he's done anything else. He's gonna go places.
He's gonna go places.
Oh shit, he was Pennywise. Oh,
So we got Bill Skarsgård standing there, like all like half asleep, all hunky and stuff, and you're thinking, "Oh shit, it's Bill Skarsgård in a horror movie. He did it." Perfect red herring. Double booked Airbnb. There's no other place for our main character Tess to go because apparently there's a convention in Detroit, so everything's booked up. Bill Skarsgård, Keith, says, "Hey, like this sucks. You're not really gonna be able to find anything else. You can go sleep in the bedroom. It has a lock on it. I'll sleep on the couch."
I was getting sussy vibes from him this whole time.
You're put in the perspective of
And
Tess.
she's doing everything right, being super cautious.
Yeah, she's being super cautious, but she's still going through with it. And, well, that's a theme for her.
Oh, being hesitant, but then doing it?
She is very aware that she shouldn't be doing a lot of things and still does it. I don't know, to me, if that's worse than being just completely oblivious.
Well, isn't she, like, doing something with documentary filmmaking?
She is.
So,
Yes.
like, a documentarian will put themselves in danger to get the story, right, or whatever.
Is that the term for them?
That's what I said.
Okay.
A documentarian?
Look, I'm not sure. I just sounded kind of funny to me. Yeah, so then we get this nice, like, little romantic bit because she's like, "Oh, I'm weird, though. Those linens are dirty now. I can't sleep on those." She's like, "Well, okay, there's a washing machine. We'll wash these linens because you think I'm some dirty freak."
For Keith, the first time I watched this 3 times because it's great.
That's a lot.
And the first time, it's great. The first time I watched it, I thought Keith was acting very suspect. Everything he was doing just seemed off.
Like he was working really hard to keep her there.
Working so hard to keep her in that house. However, on the second viewing,
You realize he's just awkward?
he's just awkward, and everything he's doing is legit.
Yeah.
It's very, very genuine.
Very genuine.
Like, he seems like a good guy. He's almost too genuine, and that makes you untrustworthy because, well, people aren't that nice for no reason anymore, is kind of what we're all told, right?
Yeah, so in this film, he is the only male actor who is trustworthy.
And the homeless man.
And the homeless man.
Well, even that guy turned out to be full of shit.
No, he turned out to be wrong about the
a very major thing.
structure of his water tank. That's all.
Look, Andre's been there for 15 years, okay?
She ain't never busted in here before.
I mean, it has been a long time since my jaw has hung open in a movie, and it did it at least 3 times in this beautiful, beautiful piece of cinema. So we get Tess explaining that she's been in, like, we see her when she's getting into the house. She's getting a phone call from, I think, someone named Marcus.
Yeah.
And she ignores it, and then she's very hesitant with Keith, but once they buddy up about her doing a documentary on, like, jazz culture, and him saying he's one of the founding members of like a neighborhood jazz group, the Lion Tamers. Then they start to loosen up a little bit, and then she starts sharing about how being in, like, a controlling relationship.
Initially, I thought that him also being the big jazz figure music thing was a weird coincidence, and it made me even more suspicious.
Me too.
I thought that at first too, but then I stopped to think about any time that's happened in my life where, like, stuff just kind of like weirdly worked out like that. And it's like, okay, it does happen.
In their conversation, there's, like, 2 pieces of dialogue which I think inform who's going to live and who's going to die in this movie. And they're talking about relationships. And one, he says that girls can rip too.
About her hearts getting ripped out.
Out. She's like, guys rip out girls' hearts all the time. And he's like, well, girls can rip too. Foreshadowing later. And then he also says there are always going to be people who project some kind of dynamic onto us, and it's up to us if we want to play ball or not.
Oh, and she projects the mother onto the baby dynamic.
So once we're introduced to the mother, he does not play ball. He hasn't been in that kind of relationship, whereas she has. And she recognizes the dynamic that the mother is trying to put on her, and for her own survival, she embraces it, and that is why she lives.
I don't know if people tell you guys this, but you're smart.
There was a lot of awkward silence of them staring at each other for a while.
That's just nerd flirting.
They were vibing so good.
They were.
So during the wine, like, okay, there's a bottle of wine that gets left there. He sets it out there. She goes to the bathroom to kind of clean up and stuff, freshen up.
Well, before that, he tries to brew her tea.
Oh, yeah. She doesn't drink the tea. Yeah, so he's sitting out there with the uncorked wine, and he's like, I decided I was going to drink this wine, even though you didn't want any, but I thought maybe if you did want some, I left it here. I didn't uncork it. I wanted you to see it and pour the glass so you know it's not poison or anything. My thoughts were, dude, you can inject it through the cork. You can poison the glass. Like, come on, man. There's a lot of ways you can still poison someone with an unopened bottle of wine.
I didn't even consider that. Good job.
I mean, the wine was planted before both of them even got there. So if the movie was doing my thing where they get reprogrammed, then it would be already be poisoned.
If the movie was us as an intentional trap, then that would be a drug that would put them to sedate them.
Yes.
To then feed them to whatever was going to happen later.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's crazy going back on second watch through, and you're like, wow, all this stuff was just standard stuff being there ready for an Airbnb. This wasn't.
Can I ask a question about the title?
Shoot.
Yes.
Why is it called Barbarian?
I have two theories. The first one has to do with the name of the street.
Okay.
Because they're at 476 Barbary Street. And as we'll later find out, there's people still living in the deep, dark dwellings of the ground.
The people living on Barbary Street would be barbarians.
No.
Oh.
Only Mother, who was actually born in the house. She was born on the street and has never left. So she is a barbarian because she was actually born on Barbary Street. Also, because of the savagery and ripping people up. Also because of the lack of communication skills that Mother has. Barbarian.
One of you just said that it's all the letters of Airbnb.
Look, that's one of the fun ones where I like to point out is, yes, Barbarian is made up of just letters of Airbnb. Some of them duplicated more than they are in Airbnb.
I like that, and I like the living on the street.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know. Oh, I didn't get that one. That's good. Yeah, it's art. We can read into it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh,
intention
absolutely.
doesn't matter.
Artistic intention does not matter. Only matters what the observer brings to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's out now. It's our baby. We do what we want with it, baby.
Okay, speaking of babies, here's where I have a question. All right, so they go to sleep, and at this time she's comfortable enough with him that she's been locking the door throughout the house before they had their coming together moment, right?
Ooh, I think I know what your thought is. Can I interrupt?
Sure.
Okay. Were you gonna say that the barbarian heard his nightmares and came up there to soothe him?
That's awesome. No, I'm not gonna say that.
No, but I like that.
I like that a lot better than what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Here's what I was.
You go ahead.
Mine sounds much more ridiculous now. Damn it, Daniel! I think you're right. I think you're 100% right. Maybe. Okay. Here's what I was thinking because she doesn't lock her door when she goes to bed, and so she wakes up. She hears a noise.
I thought she did lock
the door
it.
Open. No, he closed it for her. Keith closed it for her, but then she never locked it. At this point, the door opens sometime during the night, and she wakes up hearing this kind of guttural noise, kind of set like that. You know, I'll call it a soft, wet throat scream, and she gets up and goes out into the living room, and she sees Keith on the bed. Keith is having a nightmare, and he's making noises. And in the background of the shot, we see the door, which leads down to the basement.
See it shut.
Closing.
Yeah.
It shuts. When I first saw this, I thought someone was closing it with their hand. That's what I thought at the time. Now, my question is, I don't understand what if it was Mother. I don't understand why she's playing games.
I don't think she was playing games. I think she came up to observe the girl sleeping. Like, she probably seen Keith on the couch, maybe. Or maybe she stopped by the bedroom first, but she was observing Tess. I think she heard Keith having his nightmares. I don't think she wanted to soothe him. I think, and this is, judging by how she reacts later in the movie, the only man she's ever lived with is her, dad,
who we learn is Frank later.
I think she just is initially off-put by men in general, and so he's over there making noises, and I think she's just like, oh shit, well, I can't really do anything about this right now, even though she could. As we clearly see, she can handle herself, and I think she's just like, okay, I'm just gonna bail this time.
I just couldn't figure out in my head or make sense of why she would not have, on that night, dragged one of them down with her if it had been her. And so I was thinking, because of the noise that was made, it sounded like a noise of a child. And I was wondering if she actually had a baby mutant running around that was cut out of this movie. Otherwise, I'm not sure that those scenes, while creepy and atmospheric, if they make sense with the logic of the rest of the film. Because otherwise, we see her clearly, whenever she gets a person, there's a place she puts them and a way she treats them. And we learned from the homeless man that she's been taking people in there periodically. So I think if it had been her, it would have been a big violent scene. And that was why I was thinking, was there a little mutant, a little baby toddler run around like basket case kind of deal, and saw them and went, "Nyah," and ran back. And then somehow in this movie, they died, and that's why she was treating them as babies to get a replacement child. This is my own fan fiction. I just made it up a couple days ago.
I like my thing.
That's a huge stretch.
You're looking for a second croc where there's no second croc.
I am. I'm trying to shoehorn my mutant baby into this.
Look, I wish there was an after credit scene that showed another mutant baby, but I think if she had a mutant baby, I don't think she would have gave fuck all about it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I thought.
But maybe the baby left
in a cut scene. The baby died somehow.
A quick time event.
Yeah.
That you fuck
quick
up.
Time event. Look, I have to add a lot of scenes and cut them in order for my theory to make sense.
Sure,
I understand that. Or we could say that, well, no one would have opened. It had to have been her to open the door.
But you can't open that door from down there.
You can't open it from down there. Yeah. So how did she do that? That's the big problem I have with that scene.
Yeah.
It's locked from the inside.
Yeah. It's locked from the inside.
outside.
Unless there's a trick to opening the door that only she knows.
You got to jiggle it.
It turns out you have to turn the handle.
There's a scene when she actually figures out she's locked, and she gives it a shove, and I'm watching the frame. It goes,
oh yeah, that door,
a good couple inches.
That door was gonna give if she kept doing it.
Girl, I think if you just give it a little hip check, I think you can get it open, honey. But that's all right. She's a good enough actress. She pulled it back.
Yeah, those were definitely some of my problems as far as this is just a house. This house wasn't built to contain you in this section, so you could plow through that door.
Right. So maybe that whole nighttime scene was just for atmosphere, and we're not supposed to.
I think that's
about it
correct.
This much,
because at this point you're still supposed to be sus of Keith.
Except that door. I'm all suspecting on Keith, but that's making me thinking he's got an accomplice.
We talked about the wine. We talked about them kind of. They clearly are clicking, those two could hook up. The duvet and whatnot finally gets clean.
Is that a trick that works?
His stank is washed off of it. To put on a duvet over a quilt or whatever, yeah, that would work.
Oh my God.
Well, no,
that is a pain in the ass.
He put the duvet, he wore it like Michael Myers in the first Halloween as a ghost, right?
Yeah, he climbs in the duvet inside out.
Is that what Michael was doing?
And then...
Michael just had a sheet, but that's what it reminded me of. I know an homage when I see one.
So he gets in there, she hands him the quilt portion, and then he wrestles it and pulls it
very
all
cute.
Inside out to get in there. Very, very cute. But I'm thinking we just put all this shit in the wash.
Yeah, but now she's
cool.
She's cool with the stank. So
right, now she's cool with the stank. It's all stank up on there. And then they have their kind of little moment where it's is he gonna go sleep on the couch?
I stare a little bit too long.
Yeah, so that's when, they kind of okay, I'm going to go on the couch now. And he, like you said, he shuts the door for her. I don't remember 100% if she did lock the door or not. You say she didn't. If she
does not.
She locks it after she wakes up the first time.
After she wakes up and she goes and he's having his nightmare. She touches him. He jerks awake, not happy that she's hovering above him, right?
What the fuck are you doing?
Basically. Scared the shit out of me. And then she goes back to her room, closes the door, and then she locks. This movie is very particular about showing us when doors are locked, when they're unlocked. And she oversleeps a little bit and wakes up the next morning, and we find a note from him. So nothing bad happened.
Initially, I was thinking that he got snatched in the night and that the kidnappers had written the note so that she wouldn't get sus.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm very gullible. I thought, oh, he left a note. Oh, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. Oh, because She's leaving the house, Kenny.
We're actually watching a rom-com. Kenny tricked us.
I didn't think she was gonna leave the house.
She left the house. That's like that. Like I said, that's the moment where I'm like, what is this movie? She left the house? The trailer made it seem like we were only in this house. What the hell is going on? And then it shoots to the rest of the neighborhood, and that's when I asked the question, if you had seen that neighborhood in daylight, would you have stayed in that house the first night?
Nope.
She would not have. And that's something he says to her when she's deciding whether or not to leave during the night. It's like, I don't know if you saw the neighborhood, but it's nah,
fam,
nah, girl, you in danger.
Yeah.
Come in here where there's a lock.
Right? And that's exactly when I thought, okay, my theory's bust, because there's no way this is a group of people that like to torture people in the basement that's just going to let one of their victims walk away. So I'm just like, okay, this isn't designed to trap them. They walked right out, so something else is going on here. I just don't know what the fuck it is.
Right. And then I kind of switched a little in my thing going, wait, is this some weird, like, experiment that's going on where some crazy government people have set up this one house in this dilapidated neighborhood so that they could run some weird, like, cube-like experiment on people? Like, what is this?
That's interesting.
I hate Cube.
Like, you hate cubes in general? Like the concept?
The series of movies.
Oh, okay.
She goes to her interview, and it seems like that goes really well. It doesn't matter to us what they're talking about until she's like, wait, you're staying where? Like, oh, yeah, over
you
there,
should not be
Barbary
there.
Street.
Over there in Brightmoor. And you're like, no, you shouldn't be there.
No, honey, no. No.
And so here's why building a relationship with Keith is important, because if she wasn't macking on him at this point, she would have probably agreed to go stay somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But she knows he's going to be there, and they're hitting it off, and so that's giving her the motivation to go back.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You doomed everyone, Keith.
Damn it, Keith, and your beautiful eyes.
Your awkward charm.
She goes back to the house. She brings the keys inside with her. Keith asks her to leave the keys in the lockbox so he can...
Well, she gets chased into the house.
Oh, that's right. I missed that. Yes. The Q, our homeless man in the
Our
area.
doomsayer.
What I say his name was?
The Doomsayer.
Our doomsayer.
The Guardian Doomsayer.
Andre comes running at her from down the street like, don't you go in that house, young lady.
Hey, little girl.
Girl!
Come here. Come out that house. You come out that house right now. Once she gets in the house, he doesn't knock on the door. He doesn't try to force the door, and he doesn't try to get in.
Ooh.
And that's something I noticed on the first viewing.
I didn't notice that, but you're right. He backs off.
I've watched enough horror movies so I'm like, oh, all right. I know what your job is in this movie. Your job is to protect people from the evil house.
He should work on his approach, though.
Yeah, the doomsayer came off a little aggressive.
Very aggressive.
You'd think after living there for 15 years, he would have figured out something that worked, but I guess he hasn't.
Yeah, you got to change your approach if it's not working.
I like that this movie has setups and then callback and payoffs. So the first setup we get here is her calling the police about what she thinks is a homeless man like trying to assault her, and they tell her that there are no units available to come investigate,
which is a theme with the movies we watch.
That's true,
so
actually.
I appreciated in this one they at least knew I would be watching it, and so they tried to give me some reasons why the police would not be so involved.
That's because they suck.
I kind of questioned the second time it happens.
No, I believe that 100%.
Well, you look at that neighborhood, I guarantee a place like that, especially in a city like Detroit, with the reputation it has, they probably get so many like just calls so they can't do a damn thing about in that area.
Yeah, but I mean, I
can't arrest every homeless person. I know you want to.
That's not okay.
I don't know. So it provided me enough of I was able to suspend my disbelief to think, okay, on the second time it happened, the police probably wouldn't do anything. In the logic of this movie, you've established something. I'll let it go. However, because I like to talk about other movies, this one reminded me of when she goes back into the house and she's looking for toilet paper. There's a shot that's from like the front door and it shoots down that long hallway, and it's a static shot. So we just see her moving from room to room, and it kind of reminded me of the shot in the hallway in Exorcist 3 in the hospital.
The long shot at the end before the nurse comes out with
those giant shears.
Yeah, I don't know what those are used for.
What do you have them in a hospital for?
Ribbon cutting ceremonies.
ribbon
arts
cutting
crafts.
and decapitations. Of course. It was setting me up to expect like a jump scare, which didn't happen. So I liked it because the movie is setting me up for something and then going, no, we're doing something else.
That's his comfort, is being set up for failure. Like being let down is his happy place.
It is. It's
familiar.
So much my happy
it's very
place.
familiar.
Yeah.
My thoughts on that scene were not as cinematic as yours. Mine were, she goes to the bathroom after getting in there and calmed down and stuff like that and realizes there's no toilet paper in there. So she goes looking for toilet paper and finds the box of toilet paper. And these are like the size, like a quarter size of a normal roll. And it is the cheapest looking toilet paper I have ever seen. And so now I'm really confused about that bottle of wine, because I've stayed in Airbnbs. There's never been a bottle of wine waiting for me, but there's always been okay toilet paper. So you're going to tell me you're going to lay out a bottle of wine for your guests, but you're going to buy the cheapest fucking toilet paper I have ever seen. That's what I'm like, okay, something's up here.
Once you get through that bottle, you're not going to care about the toilet paper on your bum.
Yeah,
it's
no.
That's their thought process. So here's the thing. So before, in the scene at night with Keith on the bed and her coming out to investigate the noise, we see the door closing, and I thought someone had closed it.
Mm-hmm.
But now we know that the door closes on its own.
Now, and I don't think that's mechanical necessarily. I think it's just...
It's a ghost
door. I think it's
door.
just one of those things where the door is probably slightly off on its hinges, or the house
Wouldn't
is
that be a mechanical thing?
Well, I'm saying it's not an intentional, like, it's not a device shutting the door. I think the door just shuts. Like, you leave it...
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. It's just a part of that normal part of the house. So, but that means, well, again, if the door locks from the inside,
yeah, we still don't know how
who opened the door.
Mother got in from the basement. But again, she probably has a way, because she gets out apparently at night, so she has to be able to get out of the basement.
Goes through the door, front door, opens it.
How does she get up to the front door if the basement door is shut? So I wonder if there's another access through the tunnels.
Oh, there's probably a tunnel, because like it probably okay.
Or
here's what happened. Are you
plot
ready?
hole. Just a normal plot
There's
hole.
there's a little mutant baby that lives upstairs sometimes to let the mother
gonna
He
out.
fill
pulls
this
a
plot hole
cord
in.
out of a dinosaur, and it's a Rube Goldberg machine. The dinosaur comes down the rafters.
Rube Goldberg,
and Pee-wee is there on the other side. He's all, hee, and he opens the door, and then he runs out.
So when the neighbor moves out in the 50s or whatever, no one buys that house. That house sits vacant while this dude is still digging his tunnels and doing his whatnot. So he digs a secret tunnel over to that house that leads out from there. There you go.
We never saw that, but yeah, maybe.
Well, we didn't see a baby either, or a second croc.
Well, but I heard a baby.
I do want to see
him
digging.
Later in the movie, we saw a baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do wish we could have seen
We
how
saw a
he
big
hit all
baby.
that dirt.
I also have questions on whether he dug that or he discovered it. Like whether that was a natural occurring feature of the land, that there were these caverns in there, or if it's probably both, I would imagine, but
He's got goblin in him, so he can.
Well,
dig
I've often
like that.
heard about the caverns of Detroit. They talk about them a lot.
You hear about it all the time. Yeah.
I actually Googled it to see if it was a thing. It's not.
Oh.
They do have some caves, but they're not very prolific with their caving systems and that kind of stuff. So it's most likely that.
Most likely what I said.
Yeah, but where do you put all that dirt?
He
Frank
ate
ate
it.
the dirt, maybe. So Tess goes down the stairs, finds out she's locked, goes and bangs on the basement window. From it, she can see the outside, which that's a setup for later in the movie. And then she's looking around, and then she sees a piece of rope sticking out of the wall, and she pulls on it and opens our secret door.
We need to install secret doors in our basement.
I agree 110%.
What did you think was going to happen when she did that?
So I wasn't expecting another secret door after that.
Okay, we'll get there. But when there's another door.
Ooh, I just thought of something. So the room she finds, which looks like a creepy perv room,
dirty
The-
mattress,
the
and a
rape
camera.
torture kill room.
torture room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the room that he kept the women in
Initially.
So, initially, maybe.
I think,
but
he upgraded.
What
to the
need
tunnels.
would he? You think he upgraded the tunnels? What if Mother dug the tunnels? She a little freak.
I mean, she could have been involved.
I mean, I like your personal fan fiction, but
I'm just wondering why he would need the tunnels. Unless I guess they could have been there so that he would never have to leave.
He got to that
house.
point where he's like, I'm never leaving this place. I don't know. I guess Mother, once she was able to provide some sort of food or something for him, they just
milk.
Yeah, milk. Where'd she get the nutrients of the milk? Eating rats. I answered my own question.
Good job.
Eating people she brings in.
Does she eat people?
I'm pretty sure she does.
Why would
there's
you?
no there's no other food.
Yeah, I think he escalated to the tunnels. Like, okay, clearly the room with the camera, like that's how he got started. It was like, hey, I'll make a little secret room, and then he started like making a family with these things.
And then once he became a family man,
he
plays for them little
right.
ones
So
to
I think
run
he digs the tunnel with or without their help to further keep this whole thing hidden. And eventually, I mean, he moves his shit down there, and then he just stops coming out because clearly he's not okay.
Yeah,
she does the pyramid light
from the Mummy
scheme.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought. She's doing the Mummy.
Yeah, she pulls the rope, the hidden door opens up, and it's just pitch black hallway. And yeah, she backs up, and at this point, I think I was the only one in theaters watching this. I think it's the middle of the day, and I'm just like, oh hell no! And she backs up and she goes, nope. And I'm like, thank you, you're smart.
Yeah,
we're not doing that.
Especially because I had watched Nope like a week earlier.
Well, then this is what I talked about earlier. Then we cut to her positioning the mirror to shine light down the hallway because we're going down the hallway.
Smart.
It's like we just said no.
But we're
bored.
But
she's curious.
We're curious.
It's
we're
the
bored.
Documentarian.
Okay, we shouldn't be bored
know.
because, as we discussed, she pushed on that door. That door would give. That is a standard door that you could kick through because it's not a solid wood door, or you could easily pop it through.
I think they just fucked up, and it's supposed to be more solid than it appeared.
I don't know, man.
They didn't count on her fucking Idris Elbaing.
This movie does not make mistakes.
It does not make. It did everything on purpose. Now, remember, before she got herself locked in the basement, she did bring the house key in with her because she was running from the homeless guy.
Correct.
So Keith now has no way to get into the house. So she goes, explores the creepy.
Can I say one thing about that? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm always paying attention to music cues. So the first step she takes into the hallway is when that foreboding synth music kicks in, and then we start getting that that I don't even know how to describe it. That repeating sound that sounds like someone took a metal rod and is rotating it around like a metal sound bowl. You know, that reverb echo.
Yeah.
You know the sound I'm talking about that happened in the movie?
Mm-hmm.
To me, in my head, I was thinking, okay, are they doing a Friday the 13th? And this is some like weird stretched out metallic version of like mommy.
Oh.
I'm not sure it is though, but just made me think of that.
It doesn't matter. You know what? It is now.
And then she sees the room with the video recorder, the mattress, the bucket, the bloody handprint, and she says no. And gets right the hell out.
And even before she goes in there, my note was, you shut that wall right now.
After she noped out of there, I wrote down that she has good instincts.
The instincts were to not go in there.
No, but she had the curiosity, and then once the curiosity is sated, she bolts.
Well, what is she gonna do?
What is she
gonna do? Sit down on the mattress at that point?
Take a little nap.
In the words of AJ, ew.
Yeah.
Eventually, Keith comes back to the house, starts knocking on the door, and then she bangs on the glass window. They push the window open. She gives him the key. And then this is where I was the most suspicious of Keith, because she's like yelling at him. She's like, there's a room downstairs with a bed and a bucket in it, and we gotta go. We gotta go.
He really wants to see it.
And at first, I was very suspicious. But if you listen to what she's saying, all she's saying is, there's a room, there's a bed, there's a bucket.
Right.
That's it.
But
now, we know as the audience, from her perspective, we know what she saw. But from Keith's perspective, she's just saying a bed, a bucket, you know.
She's not verbalizing it very well.
And a room.
He should tell from how freaked out she is that it's a
freaked
bad.
out.
I think he should, but he's also awkward.
This is where he kind of takes a shift.
Do you think he was trying to be a little manly here to impress her?
That's the shift in his character. he didn't believe her.
Really into her, he would have picked up on the vibe, hey, this lady I'm trying to build a relationship with, obviously, this is not the place. This is not the
deeply
time.
Uncomfortable.
Let's go somewhere else. She wants to go together. Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's like, I need you to be comfortable with me. I respect you. I respect women. But now I'm just like, yeah, you a crazy lady. I gotta see this.
I gotta see this.
Even taking out all the context of the relationship that they were potentially budding and whatnot. If you're Keith, do you want to see the basement? If someone comes up to you and says all that shit to you, do you want to go? Like, okay, I want to see the basement. Do you go see the basement, though? What I want and what I do are two different things.
Right.
I go see the basement.
Where I am now in my life, I don't go see the basement.
You're all family, man. I go see the basement.
You are expendable.
I got nothing to live for. Let's go.
Don't get me
You're
wrong,
what's
Daniel.
in the basement, buddy.
My heart is with you. Yeah. I want to go see you in that basement. I want to see you so bad.
Get him a GoPro, slap him on the ass. Go get him, buddy.
But I would have been a lot more careful about it.
How? Because he goes down there. She's yelling at him. He said, "Did you see the room?" He's like, "Yes." And then he's silent the whole rest of the time.
I'm hopping in my jazz group chat, and I'm saying, "Yo, some freaky shit going down at this place. I'm checking out for
but there's
y'all."
great acoustics in this murder room.
There's great acoustics in this murder rape room. So you got that going.
Usually
for it.
in that order, murder rape. So
well.
Actually,
yes.
we could talk about the acoustics of that room later when we get to Act 3, or at the end of Act 2, because it does come up.
Keith goes down there, he's checking it out. She's still staying upstairs at this point, and Keith stops responding.
At what point do you think she grabs him? How far do you think he goes down, like super far down that tunnel before Mama come out?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think he had to have gotten through the second door.
He had to have gone down the stairs a little bit, I think. But before that, though, she's like, she hasn't heard him. She goes down to kind of start checking. She almost lets the door shut again. Like, she barely gets up to catch it in time. Like, no.
At that point, just take the door off the hinges.
Do something to disengage that door before you go down there at all. That's the first thing I'm doing. That's when I'm like, okay, girl, you ain't thinking.
She supported it with a chair, but I mean, someone is going to have to come along to move that chair. Otherwise, she'll be fine. She is thinking.
She goes down there and then she starts hearing him scream. And at that point, I'm like, forget it. You've known him for a day. Cut your losses. Just get out.
My thought is he's bait. He's baiting her down.
He's bait.
At this point, I no longer thought that.
I was back in. I was like, Keith, you dirty bastard.
I'm with you, Kenny. As soon as he stopped responding to her after going down.
Even if he was bait, she should still not go.
I thought he was bait as soon as he's like, oh yeah, I'm going down there to check it out.
That's so suspicious.
Again, I don't know this house.
Yeah.
That's on him. This is his fault. He did it.
But he should have known better. He's bait. So I'm like, no, he's a bad, bad man. They pulled the rug out of us, said, oh, he's a fine person. Look, we survived the night. He was so nice. Turns out they tricked us. They lured us in, and now I feel dumb for trusting him.
I wanted to fuck him.
Yeah, now
I'm
dumb because I wanted the bag of Skarsgård.
There is a beautiful shot right here because when she goes back, she's propped the door open to the basement. She comes down. She's calling out his name. He's not responding. So she goes into the black hallway. She goes back into the torture room. And then the camera kind of pulls out. And the lighting in this is beautiful because on the left frame, we see this warm orange glow, like representing safety, representing the exit. And then on the right of the frame, the torture room where she is, it's this sickly yellow. And in between is just this blackness. And instead of going into the safety of the orange glow, she turns and continues into that darkness. And I thought when she opened that second door and started going down, to me that looked like she was going down like a throat. Why a throat? Because the movie, specifically the throat of a snake. Because in the movie, on her rearview mirror,
there is like a pendant thing.
Mm-hmm. And it's
a little charm,
it's very curvy. It curves around.
The camera does linger on it
at least three times in this movie, I think. It made me think, oh, okay, she's entering the mouth of some kind of like snake, and the tunnel itself is curving around in some places like the snake does. So she's literally entering the belly of a beast. This is also where in the soundtrack we start hearing a heartbeat. Once she gets to the bottom of the stairs, the heartbeat cuts out, and then we see a whole bunch of cages, 5 cages. One of them has a dog bowl inside, as you do. And so this is one of it where it makes me think that Frank, one of the reasons he had to dig all of this out was because he had multiple people here at once. He needed more space.
He needed more space.
Yeah.
More square footage.
Abducting multiple people at one time. Oh my God. AJ, you prick. I'm on your side, and then I'm off your side.
I'm never not on his side.
I was always
hold on.
Not on his side.
In the context of him being in the house, I'm never not on his, or in and around Detroit. Before that, no means no.
No means no. It was more ambiguous as to AJ's situation.
I don't think it was.
Well, the movie makes it less. The movie makes it pretty clear who AJ is and what he...
Even before that, and I'll tell you what set it off for me when we get there.
My only thoughts on your thoughts are...
Look, I don't get the mutant baby. Let me have the goddamn entering the mouth of the serpent.
No, I think there's something there, because they linger on that charm thing a bunch.
I love that you work so hard to read so much into things. I'm not saying you're wrong.
It brings me joy.
But
again, intention doesn't matter.
It's what you got out of it.
I can't say words now. It's setting up an image in your head of curvature and a snake. And so then when it's something else, your mind connects it. So whether they meant it that way, I connected it. And it makes me think your movie is pretty cool.
Thank you. I did work hard on it.
You worked really hard on it. Look, I can't say that I got that. I can say that I didn't get that. I can just say I thought. Okay.
Do you have any other theories as to what... I was also thinking, does the snake represent something else? What would the snake represent in like a biblical sense? Like the serpent and temptation?
It's temptation.
Okay.
It's temptation. Yeah. She's tempted to go into the basement for knowledge.
I like that too.
Secrets.
Full disclosure, this is the first time I've even thought about snakes.
Ever?
Yeah, ever. Yeah, no, I like that. But I'm gonna chalk that up to like we talked about. Movies are like poems. You'll read a poem and there'll be 50 different interpretations, and then the poet's gonna come out and be like, "Look, man, I'm just gonna claim the coolest thing someone said because really, I just wanted to write about pizza."
Well, I think even a poet would say intention doesn't matter.
Oh, no.
It's what you take out of it.
I agree, but you see so many times people talk about, like, oh, they were clearly preaching about this in the movie, and the guy's just like, look, man, I just like gorillas.
Yeah, it's not that deep.
I agree that absolutely happens.
In a worse-made movie, it would be more difficult to put
Correct.
these ideas on
I could not put these ideas on
for sure.
to Croc.
Correct. Yeah, well, there's a whole goblin bit that we put on to Croc.
No, it was always there. They just didn't say it. That was the genius of that script. What was not said, and not necessarily having a script.
It's like when you're DMing an RPG, you want to leave blank spaces
Marry me,
for
Daniel.
the players to
That's
fill
beautiful.
I ain't dogging you, dog. I'm just saying I wish I had some of the drugs that you had to really just open my mind and get into it,
Well, also on the third watch, you're looking for shit you didn't see before.
No, on the third watch, you're putting your vision onto it.
You're projecting.
Yeah, so so Ryan feels like he's in the belly of the beast.
I do.
This podcast is the belly of the beast.
Belly
Every
of the
time
beast.
you gotta crawl in
dive
here.
Seeing snakes everywhere.
Look, that tunnel when she walks down, it really looks like a throat.
Yep, and so
I
then we get Keith screaming.
We do. Little kind of like
Does he scream that something bit him?
And this is where the baby theory comes back because we never see Mother bite anyone, right?
Right. She smashes
and so
and rips and tears.
Don't you laugh at me, Kenny. So this is where I thought, okay, what would have bit him? Like Mother would have bit him? No. There's a little baby mutant running around and it playfully nipped him, on the leg or something. But
just
I don't know. Because that didn't they didn't show us a mutant baby in the film, their loss, then that must mean that mother bit him, but I don't know why she would.
Hmm.
I don't think she would. Yeah, I don't think she would.
I honestly think it was probably a snake.
Snake in the tunnel? Are there snakes in Detroit? Is the weather acclimated for it? Or is this a Croc in England
situation? It's fine.
All right.
I just assume she bit him just because we didn't see that as her main weapon. Maybe she was curious. I mean, she's kind of animalistic.
She's also childlike, and what do children do? They put things in their
true.
mouth.
You can't truly know something unless you put it in your
100%.
mouth.
And also,
Yeah.
Children who have trouble verbalizing and communicating will get very frustrated and then lash out by biting the person they're trying to communicate with.
See, she wasn't initially ready to bash his head in like she did. She tried
Once
to
Tess
nibble
gets
first.
to Keith, and Keith's all, I'm whiny, making a whole lot of noise. She's trying to get him to go the way that she came from, and he's insisting, no, that who else is down here went that way. Now, are there are there tunnels, like side tunnels that we just missed, or is he just like spatially confused? Just confused.
He's just
And
confused.
he does not want to go that way. He's grabbing his arm. Once he grabs her arm, she starts crying. And then, ladies and gentlemen, that is when our big, pale, full-figured mama comes right out of the darkness and just dashes Keith's head against the wall.
So because he hurt her, is that the only reason she bashes?
2 reasons.
The mother bashes the head in?
Once the mother shows up, Tess is absolutely silent. She's not screaming. She's silent. She's observing. Whereas Keith is getting just, being screamy. I mean, who can't take a little bite? Come on.
Oh, the documentarian is being
You
silent
got it.
and
And so Keith is not enacting the role that mom wants to put on him.
Well, he's just doing jazz.
He's
just
freestyling it, whereas she is just keep calm. I think actually she's probably in shock, but the silence is what saves her, because then she's able to observe mommy, and then I'm sure once mommy looked at her and said, baby, she's figured it out pretty quickly what she had to do.
You fucking bet.
Baby.
I'm baby.
You da mama.
You da mama.
You know what? That guy, not the mama. You da mama.
Yeah.
We're pretty sure she watched her sleep the night before, and maybe she had already kind of had that bond, like, okay, here's my new baby. She didn't watch Keith. I'd say Keith's nightmares, over there freaking out and stuff, probably startled her, and that's why she ran away. So she doesn't have that bond with him, and then, the somewhat of the theme is she should be scared of men because of Frank. So it probably doesn't take much for her to get set off on a male victim as it does for a female victim. But again, that could also be reading.
I don't think it is.
No, Ryan's snake thing is reading too much into it.
But my baby thing stands, right?
There's hella mutant.
It's after this that it's like a legitimate act break, because after this, after we've been in the darkness of this claustrophobic tunnel, we go from blackness to sunny day outside coast of California. Did they just do a Psycho? Movie. They just kill off the people I thought were going to be the leads?
That's what I thought was happening.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, this guy, like, I knew Justin Long was in it, but I thought he was going to be like one of the torturers in the basement or something. But now we're like, the characters that I've already, like, I'm attached to are gone.
Yeah, they're dead. I mean, they're dead. They have to be dead, right?
And then we got Justin Long singing loudly in his car in like sunny California, which is not Detroit.
AJ Gilbride.
You're right.
And he is
sweet baby AJ.
I was so happy when I saw
Justin Long. He was having the best time.
I think that
driving down the California coast with in a car with the rear projection behind him. It was great. I know this because I watched his steering, and the car was turning without him steering. It's a whole thing. I'm like, so.
It could have been a drag setup where they pull it behind.
I think it was probably a drag, yeah.
Challenge
we'll
me.
Never know. So we're introduced to AJ now, who seems like this happy-go-lucky, youngish Hollywood star. Who
I don't know that he's a star.
He's on the rise. People know him.
On the rise sitcom actor.
Daniel, you've taken phone calls like this. What was his phone call about?
Word has come to light that he's being accused of raping a co-star, and now the network is either going to cancel the entire show or they're just going to remove him from the process.
So he is essentially, he's getting canceled.
He's getting canceled. Now, where I immediately thought that, oh, he 100% did this, is his reaction to getting canceled is not, oh, why would she do this? His reaction was, how is this going to affect me? How is this going to affect the show? He gives zero shits about her. And so I'm like, oh, man, you 100% did this.
I said, hell yeah, Justin Long. And then you said,
hell yeah, Justin Long.
And then almost immediately went,
Justin Long.
Sweet baby boy. When they had that quick turn there.
It was like a 2-minute turn.
I'm just like, you know what? He plays unlikable characters like so good. Like he's like, you like him, but like maybe you're not quite really great. Like I went right back to his character in Drag Me to Hell, where he seemed like a good partner to Christine.
It's like an archetype he does, because doesn't he do like the same thing?
Yeah, so it's like you're likable, but maybe you're also not a great person. Which
maybe this is why I was giving him a little bit of a benefit of a doubt, because I like the actor.
Yeah,
I love Justin Long. So I'm like, well, maybe Justin wouldn't do that. And then I'm like, oh,
Justin
AJ,
wouldn't,
but
God, AJ would.
Shit,
AJ would, yeah. That's what's great about the movie, though. We put Bill in there because he has a history of being these, the monster, and so we're immediately thinking Bill is bad. And then we bring in Justin Long as AJ, and it's like, Justin Long, he's so sweet. Like, you never heard anything bad about him. Not that you heard anything bad about Bill, but he plays kind of some of these assholes in movies, but really he seems like a good guy in most of his things. And he's immediately the asshole. And it's like they're playing on us, the audience, of having known these actors.
Agreed, definitely.
Pulling the rug out, playing, well, actually, he's not such a great guy.
I love this transition and the movie takes, because it gives us time to breathe from the tension that we had before.
I love that it's so hard. Like, it is a hard break. It is jarring. You go, like, screaming in the tunnels at night, then boom, like, bright sunshine.
My jaw
singing.
Opened when Keith got dashed against the side of the tunnel, dropped again with that hard cut to beautiful California sunshine. And so, but this, it serves a point, because we learn now that, so he's being dropped by the studio.
He is like bright and sunny on the outside, but on the inside, he's a dark, slimy monster.
Just like you are both of those things, inside and out.
You are the snake that is devouring us, and we're going inside. We learn that he's going to have money problems, but then we find out that he is the owner of some properties in Michigan. Detroit is in Michigan. So unless this movie is wasting our time, we immediately make a connection that, okay, he's the owner of this house. What does he know? Okay, clearly he doesn't know anything. This is something he's set up and letting other people handle for him based on his behavior. Also, his wealth management guy, at the end of it, tells him he's going to give his file back and he has to find someone else. And it sets the wealth management guy up with pictures of his family and his kids and his 2 girls. And it's this, what I think will be a juxtaposition later of the ideal nuclear family. And then later compare that to what Frank has done at later in the movie. So we see,
which is ideal.
It's it's something.
Hey Kenny, where's your family right now?
They're digging out their new home right now.
And then once he gets to Detroit, he's talking to, I think, his lawyer, who's telling him, like, you shouldn't have left California. There's probably going to be some criminal charges coming your way. And he just wants to call her and says he thinks he can nip this in the bud if he can just call the girl who's accused him. And this will not help the situation.
Ryan, what would your lawyer advice be
advice
here?
Is, of course, confessions are good for the soul, bad for your case, and never, ever talk to a witness who has accused you of a crime.
If you don't talk,
you might walk.
I
have that on a pin somewhere.
I know you do.
I like this because later, when he's at the bar with an old high school friend, and he gets drunk, and then he goes home, He drunk dials her. Again, it's another point of the movie setting it up and then paying it off.
He owns the property in Detroit. He's clearly from the area.
Yeah, he's from there because he's talking about visiting his parents.
Is talking to his mom, and he's like, well, no, that didn't really happen. She's a lying bitch, da-da-da-da-da. And she's like, well, don't talk like that. I'm like, what? She's trying to ruin my career so I can call her a fucking bitch. She's like, oh, well, you're only 4-hour flight away from Detroit. He's already at the Airbnb at this point. And so he didn't tell his parents he was coming at all. So nobody knows he's there except for his buddy from the bar that he's going to go to and his lawyer.
Which, are they going to be buddies after that night at the bar?
The buddy didn't seem too upset about what he was saying. Like, I feel like this is probably a standard.
Look, she
move
just
of
took
his.
some convincing is all. I'm a persistent dude, like Eye of the Tiger. Eye of the Tiger.
Like, Eye of the Tiger. Like, in the beginning, she was like,
No,
no.
it's the thrill of the fight.
Yeah. But he's talking, what I love is AJ is talking to his mom, and mom, when she's like, you can come visit us, your father wants to see you, and AJ's like, really? Dad wants to see me? Did
You
he
know
say
how
that?
your dad is. He doesn't. No, of course he didn't say that. Yeah, daddy issues.
Yeah.
Here's your tissue.
This is how we get further into AJ being not great for this day and age.
Not great for any day and age.
This is true.
Great realistic drunk conversation acting. Leaning in and being
leaning
like,
in
yeah, you were bro. I want to know what happened. He's like, yeah, fucking A, man. Let's have it. Let's do it. I'm just like, these are all conversations I've heard or partaken in, right?
What's up? And then he drops a hard F.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And I'm like,
Oh,
AJ. We doing that. So that's I think that was to just continue to put out his maturity.
See, I told you he sucks.
Yeah. You're right, Daniel. You were right.
I think they're still friends after that.
I think they are too.
Because I think his buddy's desperate. Like, that's his claim to fame. Is his buddy is, a minor
He
celebrity.
drunk dials Megan, and his apology it's that kind of apology that doesn't apologize. I'm sorry if I did anything that might have offended you. People can have different versions of the same thing. I really am sorry.
Yeah.
Call me back. I'll apologize to you again.
Exactly. So they're really hammering home his character here, and that is important because he is consistent.
He is definitely looking out for number one. One plot point we need to bring up is that he gets to the apartment on Barbary Street, goes in, and immediately sees people's stuff, right? And then he calls the company up and goes, what the hell? Do I have squatters? What is this? Like, wouldn't the maid have cleaned this up? And then they tell us they only hire a cleaning service to come in once another rental has been arranged. So if no one tries to rent it again, they don't clean it until then. And so that's why no one has discovered the car. That's why no one has figured out like all these clothes. That's why it's him figuring it out. And then he curses at her and she delightfully hangs up on him.
He's so irritated about the state of his house that he's
never
seen.
even seen.
He walks to the basement door that's still propped open with the chair and the lights on and stuff. He's like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, he's pissed because he's having to pay for that electricity. And pulls the chair out from the door and gets kind of, settled in, then goes to the bar, comes back, does the drunk
in this
dial.
time period that we figure out that it's been about 2 weeks since Keith and Tess were in the house. About 2 weeks has gone by.
Cue him puking in the toilet, can't handle his liquor, wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy. He immediately goes into trying to figure out listings in the house, or is he looking for something?
First, he starts going through the luggage.
Oh yeah, he gets curious. He sees the toothbrush underneath the sink when he's puking on the toilet. He goes into the luggage, and then he pulls out. I know you want to talk about it, right?
Pulls out Jane Eyre from Tessa's luggage, and there has to be a reason why this book is in this suitcase for us to see, right?
You don't put a book with a clearly read title in the movie for no reason. This is not a reach.
So, I think I had to read Jane Eyre maybe in high school. In that story, there is a character that has gone mad that is locked in the attic that the heroine of the story discovers is there. Also, Jane Eyre in the book,
she's
mistreated by men all over the place, but she's resilient. And so there's this combination of madness, mistreatment by men, and yet being resilient and coming out in the end. And in this movie, we've
Yes.
got madness in the basement. We've got terrible men, but at that dawn, Tess walks out alive.
Spoilers.
I love this movie.
I knew
AJ
you
goes
would.
looking around, goes downstairs, finds the rope, pulls the door open. He sees the rape, torture, kill room.
His reaction is not disgust. He's excited because it adds extra square footage to
He
the
immediately
house.
runs back up to the laptop and he starts searching. Can you add basement footage to the listing of the house? Like, will it
Okay,
increase
so when
property
he's-
value?
When he
I was
first did
dying.
that, I thought he was doing it to see if this should have been disclosed with the house when he bought it. I was naive. I was a naive little fish. I don't know about the big fish and the big dark pond.
You don't know about this
I
thing
don't.
called capitalism.
But then once he got the tape
Oh.
measure out and started measuring the dimensions
oh my god.
of the rape, torture, kill room, and just sitting on the mattress.
You
And he went,
gross.
ooh, gross. Brilliant. Absolutely
And then-
brilliant.
He only cares about that dollar. He needs that money. And look, having bought a house and potentially selling a house, like that square footage is important. And then he bumps into the other wall, and he sees the creepy ass stairs going down in the darkness.
Oh,
like, oh,
shit.
shit.
Oh,
Shit.
I don't know what he said. Something like jackpot,
And then
bitch,
he
or something
said-
like that. This, oh, God, I love this movie because his stupid little greedy ass, this provides him the motivation he needs to go down to that dark ass tunnel.
Uh-huh.
He measures the stairs.
But he's measuring it. He's not writing any of this down. He's so like completely self-obsessed, unobservant. But then he goes into the tunnel, and then we get new information because now we get. I love this
Yeah.
movie because each scene, new information. We're getting a room we hadn't seen before with a nice kind of off purple glow, which has a TV,
Mhm.
some clothes, maybe a couple blankets on the floor. And on the TV, there is a video playing of teaching you how to breastfeed your baby. And as we'll learn later, foreshadowing.
Is this pretty quick after this when we get the jump cut to the
First,
the
what we
flashback?
get is Daniel's favorite part is we're going fishing, and we're going fishing with the tape measure. It's it's our Jaws scene because the tape measure just gets taken out so fast. Running. I'm like, oh yes.
Now that makes me think that there are side tunnels because doesn't it get pulled from the direct? It gets pulled from the
Yes.
direction he came from. So he would have walked past
unless there is
her.
a side tunnel there.
Unless she's like just chilling on the ceiling.
That
like a
that
little
ceiling
freak.
wasn't high enough, I don't think. That makes me think Keith was right about her having gone in the direction that he didn't want to go.
Before he went down there, he was somewhat cautious. I will give him some credit. He did grab that knife before all the measuring and
Oh,
stuff.
sure.
here. Looking over.
And his phone. He
Yeah,
has
his phone. He's got, but I think he grabbed like the smallest kitchen knife he could find. That was a tiny.
That's a good old fruit
tiny-ass
paring
knife.
knife to peel the skin off fruit or something. I don't know, but we
He'll
also
get
get
the
that
job
cool
done.
first person like Doom shot where it's his little
Yes.
skinny arm with the knife, his little butter knife, and the
And
flashlight.
looking down the tunnel.
Remember in
You
Doom
call
where,
that a
where
Doom
it cut
shot?
to the first person,
the
yeah,
homage
where
to
everyone
the game.
almost threw up, but it was fine.
I loved it.
I liked it
That
a
was
lot.
my favorite part of that movie.
Your favorite part of the movie was when
Yeah.
it turned into a video game.
Yep.
You know who else was in that movie?
It was is it Keith Urban? Carl Urban.
Carl Urban.
Okay, first
Damn
off,
it.
why? Oh my god!
And Dwayne Pebble I'm just kidding.
Jackson?
Yeah, it has the Rock.
Who else? Someone else. 'Cause I don't think those were the two that Kenny was looking for.
Are you trying to piss me off?
Who else is in it?
Richard Brake,
Am I
Am
supposed
I
to
supposed to
know
know
who
who
that
that is?
Frank.
is? Really?
You disgust me, Portman.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Gonna go lock myself in a hotel room with a couple of she-boys. That
He
is
is
the
in that.
same character.
Now we can keep this in the
'Cause it
podcast
relates.
because it connects.
It connects.
Look,
yes.
art is it's a canvas of interpretation. You get out what you bring to it. It's beautiful. And
I loved Richard Brake.
AJ runs like a kind of he runs so far. He ran so far away.
And I run so far away.
I'm trying to think of a Meatloaf reference I can bring in to make people. Haven't thought of one yet, but I'll get it.
Well, unlike a bat out of hell, he
did not run out
gets
there.
put in a cage.
Despite all his rage.
Objects in the rearview mirror with the snake in the rearview mirror. There you go.
No, the paradise by the dashboard lights.
Ooh.
You guys and your fucking meatloaf.
Rest in peace, buddy.
Hey, look. For Mother, 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. She's got the height. She's got the smile. That's 2 out of 3.
I was kind of referring to she had 3 potential victims in this movie.
Yeah, that's what we. Yeah, I understood that.
I don't think Ryan did. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Are you calling him stupid? Because after his snake thing, I think
he's an idiot savant.
I think I see sounds and taste colors. And if you would just join me on the cinematic journey, I could take you on.
It's not easy to explain that to someone.
You got to be on the same plane as I. He runs. He falls in a pit, and this is where, holy shit, Tess is alive.
Tess is alive. Praise Jesus.
And then
Tess is
that's
alive.
where
she's immediately telling him to shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck
That's
up.
where, Kenny, we get the immediate flashback scene that explains what is going on.
So here's where I was so engrossed in the movie that
That's why you got to watch it 3 times.
So we cut to this guy who we find out is Frank, who, as I stated a little bit ago, played by Richard Brake, who, if you're not familiar with Richard Brake, he has a face.
He was in Doom.
He was in Doom. He has a face that easily portrays menace, and he's used for that a lot. So you see him, you're supposed to intentionally get kind of creeped out vibes. He's very
stiff, and the way he walks is very like Michael Myers.
He talks. He's very abrupt. He's kind of.
And we're following this guy without knowing it. First, we don't know his name. All we know is we see the neighborhood back in its golden years, where the lawns are green, all the houses are made up.
We don't know who this is. We don't know when this is. We don't know why we're seeing this. We're kind of assuming, like, okay, that's definitely still the house.
Definitely, the house looks the same,
but the neighborhood looks nice. So we clearly have some sort of time jump here. We're assuming back, just because the nature of the movie itself. I like that they didn't hold our hand there. They made us sit there and have to think, like, wait, what's going on now? Because we had that abrupt cut earlier to California.
Didn't do the Marvel thing of 1950s Detroit.
I mean, they did have on the radio talking about the Reagan administration.
Right, but you got to listen.
You have to pay attention. He goes into the store. He's looking for plastic sheets, and he tells the lady who's trying to help him that there's going to be a home birth at his house.
Yeah. Didn't the midwife give you a list?
It's just me.
Just me.
Oh, dear Lord. You sweet thing. You poor thing. So then she's being very pushy.
Like, so you're going to need diapers. Yeah,
I think she's being helpful.
Like, you good on rubber gloves? I think I have rubber gloves. Here's some more. Here's the video of how to breastfeed.
The video.
That's the first.
Like, you're 100% not getting that customer service today.
I don't want that customer service. She irritated me more than anyone else in this whole movie.
She was so sweet and helpful.
No. That's the person that comes and helps you when you don't need help.
He needed help.
She's telling him, well, look, he needed some help, but I feel like she comes over. I feel like she's too much. Look, you can give me suggestions, but you start putting...
So you're saying she's the real monster.
She's the real monster to me. You start putting shit in my cart? I said I had rubber gloves. You're over there woman-splaining home birth to me? Do you know how many home births I've done?
A woman explaining birth to a man. How disgusting.
Like, there's no such thing as a female doctor, okay?
Well,
hello. No, I thought she was too pushy. I think she pushed Frank over the edge.
She is the catalyst for this entire movie. Her and her rubber gloves.
Right.
Well, think about it. If she doesn't help him, okay, he doesn't get the right stuff, baby dies, no movie.
So Frank gets his goods, gets in the car. We're connected to him now because of the video. If you're paying attention, you've made that connection. But now it gets more overt because it's from his point of view, and we see him looking at a woman in a yellow dress. Yeah, stalking. Well, and as soon as I see him looking at her, I go, okay, got it. And then the synth music stalking dread sound kicks in with that same repeating metallic sound that I heard at the beginning. So
I think that's what I'm going to use from now on. When I do
absolutely.
it.
So we've got videotape link, and then we have the soundtrack connecting him to the house. And once he puts on the, was he working for the jumpsuit, which kind of looked like, I think it's an electrician's jumpsuit, but it also really resembles the Michael Myers jumpsuit.
He's pretending to be either a plumber or an electrician.
I think he
is a plumber or an electrician.
Otherwise, he's got huge balls because he's got the name Carlos on there. So if his name is not Frank Carlos, his neighbors are just really unobservant.
It just says Frank, so I don't know what his last name is. Yeah, so he goes in there. Again, if I'm at home alone as a woman or as a man, I'm not letting this guy in there.
As previously established in other episodes, you are.
Wait, I keep forgetting. Are we? Is that what we're going with?
Yeah, I am a man.
Well, that's the canon of the podcast,
okay.
So we need to stick to it.
As of now, I am a man, and I am not letting.
As of before,
then and now, still a man, and I'm not letting that man into my house.
Different times, people in authority.
Yeah, she doesn't even lock the door after he leaves.
Unlatches the window in the bathroom when he goes to open the sink water.
That was unnecessary because she didn't even lock the door.
Exactly. That was what I was going to say, is he goes in there to purposely leave a window unlocked. They're probably already unlocked.
Maybe.
She didn't lock that door.
He drives back to the house. He has talking to the neighbor. The neighbor is going to leave. Lots of people in the neighborhood are leaving. And then we get a line that we'll find out was foreshadowing where he says, "I'm not going anywhere." Frank goes into his house. And then we see the shot from the hallway. And this is where I see on the next leaning up against the wall, I see a shovel. And so that's making me, because I was wondering, because these tunnels, to me, they look like they were carved out of like bedrock. You need a pickaxe for that. A shovel ain't gonna do it.
Like, you can explain a shovel in your house. You can't really explain a pickaxe.
Looking for gold.
So he probably keeps the pickaxe down there.
Like, he's on the ground level and he opens the basement door, and that's when we immediately hear screaming. And so I'm wondering if the side room that you in the basement, if that was something he added after this, and that the woman was just in the basement properly. Although I guess you would have seen her through the window or could have heard her, so maybe that room was already established.
I'm wondering if that hallway and then that room was already there, and all he did was cover it up.
To me, I feel like he built a hallway in that room. That's his first addition.
Okay.
Because otherwise, that's a very random-ass hallway to a very tiny-ass room. And, like, you wouldn't build the hallway that fucking long just for one room.
I don't know.
Like, I'm not an architect or anything, but that doesn't... Unless it was, like, supposed to be a bomb shelter or something, but that's still...
Oh, good
not
call.
very big. But...
I think you killed your own thing with the bomb shelter.
I don't feel like it was deep enough.
Well, maybe it's going into a hill.
That looked pretty flat there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I think clearly, though, he built the hallway kind of long to be kind of like...
We're really hung up on how this tunnel
because
got
it's pretty big because it coils around like a serpent.
All right.
Right.
I can explain it. He's a goblin.
I think he was thinking about snakes, okay? And I think he's building this thing like a big old snake. You don't want a little stubby snake because that's not impressive. So it's just a big old snake hallway. I think about snakes a lot. Every movie I watch has snakes.
I think I'm with you now, Kenny. That room... That section of the room was already established at that time, and then I think maybe that the tunnel that went further down was something he worked on after that. When he started bringing in more people,
and I think he flipped a switch in his mind at some point that, well, I'm not going to stay topside. I'm further going to hermit myself into the earth, because at some point he has to abandon that house, and it has to be up for someone to buy it. It can't just be, oh, well, you're getting kicked out of this house and we're gonna sell it. You got to get out. And then he's like, well, I guess I'll go fucking dig a tunnel now. Like that, it's not easy to move Earth.
It's the most energy consuming.
That's what they say.
Act.
That room had to have been there for a while because you got to think he's got only so many prime health years. Be a creepy creep guy that can continue to overpower women and drag them down there. When we later see Frank is still alive, spoilers. He has all those tapes of the women. So he's been doing that for a long time.
You know, the greatest hits.
So once he closes the basement door, that's when, like, end of Act 2, this jump back in time is finished, and we go back to where AJ and Tess are in the pit, and it's time to drink the bottle.
We cut back to Tess and AJ are in the pit with the metal grating over the top, and she was telling them, "Shut the fuck up, just be quiet, like just play your part."
Doesn't Tess initially like look at his hair to see how long it is or something like
I
that?
don't remember that.
Because I think she's like seeing if maybe he can pass, because like women have long hair traditionally, so maybe he can pass as a woman so that he'll be treated better. That's how I took that.
Okay, if that's the case, I mean that's a nice little touch. I did not observe that. That's at least as believable as a snake hallway.
I'm tired of all these motherfucking snakes in my motherfucking hallways.
And I'm tired of you persecuting Ryan's snake hallway beliefs.
Look, I'm gonna beat his snake until it's limp.
Hell yeah.
So, we're gonna start calling her Mama, or the mother she's officially called.
In my heart, she's just Big Mama.
Big Mama, and this is Big Mama's house.
This
she comes
is
back.
Big
With
This is Big Mama's house.
Old style glass bottle with the pull over nipple, and it's like engorged with milk.
There's their hair. Yes,
hair
Daniel.
on
There's
it.
hair on it.
You know what the best part about the hair was?
What is it?
It was an accident, and they kept.
Oh, really?
It got stuck on it from the
We
wig.
don't make mistakes. We have happy little accidents.
I'm a happy little accident.
We're well aware.
She wants him to drink the milk. So I have a lot of thoughts here crashing at once. How much monster milk has Tess drank since she's been there? Because clearly she's been there 2 weeks. I'm assuming that's all she's
At
getting.
least 3 times a day. Trust me. At least 3 times.
I don't know how she holds that down. That is respect.
Doctors
to
do
Tess.
say that breast milk is like liquid gold. It is incredibly nutritious and good for you.
Right.
Do you think that the mutant milk is now making Tess stronger,
Oh, absolutely.
and that is how she's able to survive the fall?
Well, no, Mother saves her.
Even if you land on someone, you're still going to be
yes,
hurt.
but not dead.
Because,
I
look,
don't know.
right before they hit the ground, Mother pushes her up.
You know that if you're in an elevator that's falling, all you got to do is jump up.
You jump.
That's all, right before it hits. Everyone knows that, Daniel.
Yeah, everyone knows.
It is known.
All right, you know how like there's been some intelligent
Has there?
discussion for the past
I don't know.
hour and
Did you hear my
40
theory
some
about the
odd minutes,
baby,
but
about the
it's
snake,
done now.
about
No, I think the snake thing is intelligent. The
about
baby
my
thing,
Jane
not so
Eyre
much.
rant? I mean,
That's intelligent as well.
So, how much mother milk did she drink?
It's a big bottle.
It's a big bottle, and I don't know that her milk is going to be good because I don't think she's eating very nutritious stuff. Like, that's got to be rank AF. Plus, how's she cleaning that bottle?
she's not cleaning the bottle. That's not in the video.
My second thought is I'm with AJ here. I'm dying before I put
So you're
the
gonna
hair.
sit there while
It's the
she's flicking
hair.
the bottle at you, and the breast milk is spitting all over your eyes and on your nose, and you just I'm like,
It's
come
like,
on,
nope.
you just sat on a nasty ass mattress and you can't handle a little breast milk in your eye.
I sit on nasty mattresses all the time. It's the hair that does. Maybe I pull it off and then we talk, but I don't know if she's going to
Again.
get offended.
This is another
No, she'll be
example of Tess recognizing, okay, this person wants me to do this, so I will do it for survival. You're gonna screw this up for both of us. Get your shit together and drink that bottle.
Yeah, no, I'm dying. Sorry.
No, you're
I'm
not,
dying.
because mommy
I'm
knows
dead.
maybe you're not ready for the bottle. You know what you're ready for? You're ready to latch on. You want to go back to the source. Highlander, the source, you're welcome. Here we go. Who wants to live forever? Who wants to drink more breast milk? You do. Here we go. And she pulls him up and, cuddles him and even boops him on the nose. I love her.
Boop.
Big Mama's the best.
Is there a word for forcing someone to drink breast milk from a breast?
One of our 5 listeners, let us know.
Yeah, I think that's still sexual assault. My note around here was the mother's giving me Big Daniel vibes.
Now,
I mean,
why
a
is
creature lives in the basement. Maybe it's AJ.
The mother
vibes.
is giving you AJ vibes. Someone who is eye of the
Forces their will on
tiger,
others.
going to be very, very persistent.
He didn't want it
didn't
at
want it at
first.
first.
He didn't want it at first.
Oh my
Mother
goodness!
knows
Different
best.
levels of this kind of mindset.
It started with a bad insult joke and it turned into a real moment of
And
discovery.
we stumbled
This is
into
the best. Kenny, I think this is the best movie of the year.
It's so
I'm loving
good.
it even more as we're creating content about it.
Okay, so she leaves the gate open. It takes Tess a couple tries to get out of this hole because it's kind of a deep.
I gotta mention one thing. Okay, it's about Jane Eyre.
Of course it is.
A man Jane Eyre is interested in. She wants to marry him. It turns out he's married to a woman who has gone insane and is locked in the attic. And I think her room is red in the book, and Big Mama room has a pinkish glow to it, kind of red. So
there's your fucking literary bullshit. Lick it up.
Jane gets her man in the end. Spoilers.
Yeah, after he loses an eye, gets caught getting a fire.
He's all burnt. He's kind of fucking.
He had to lower his standards.
I think she could have done better.
No, she 100% could have done better because at that point in the story, she's also rich.
I mean, look, that guy, he wasn't truthful with her, didn't tell her about the misses that he already had. So you're already starting a relationship based on lies. Once a liar, always a liar. Look, Jane, you can do better, Jane.
Oh, we're gonna have to cut out the 20 minutes of our Jane Eyre podcast in the middle of this.
All right, yes, Kenny. So Tess escapes.
Tess gets out. She walks by and she sees him getting forced breastfed.
And you know what? She's like, nah, not my business.
She's like, yeah, let me get out of here.
She trips over the tape measure. So then we get a chase scene, kind of.
Yeah. Mama's like, what the fuck was that? And she's like, oh shit. So she takes off running. Mama's coming out after her. She ends up making it to the basement first, and then the door's still
tries the
locked.
door, and then breaks the window.
And then she crawls out of there, and she's about to get snagged, and then Andre, the homeless man, shows back up and pulls her out.
And then we get the visual of Big Mama's arms and clawed fingers coming out and then receding back into the darkness like Pennywise in the gutter. Oh.
Right,
and you're like,
yes.
She's been living her life in darkness. It's daylight right now. She can't come out.
Yep. And then Andre establishes that, and he's like, yeah, you got to get out of here. It's going to be dark soon. She can come out at night. And Tess is over there like, oh, but there's a man trapped in there. We can't leave him. And I said, no, you can.
Yes, we can.
You met him 10 minutes ago.
Him. Yeah, but she fell in love with Keith in 10 minutes, so AJ's a natural
Tess
charmer.
is too good a soul.
Tess is too good, so Tess wants to go find the cops for the second time.
She walks a long distance.
And she looks all grubby and stuff.
She looks like a homeless
person. This is where the cops show up. So this is another instance of, I'll say, bad men in this movie. Because...
I think you could just say bad authority.
Sure, bad authority, because they... In her mind, she says what they're thinking. Oh, you think because I look this way, I'm some homeless crackhead. And they're obviously thinking that in their head. So they're already gaslighting everything she's trying to tell them. But I mean, to their credit, they still put her in the car and drive over to the house, and she shows them.
I'd say they do the bare minimum.
They got shots fired. They gotta go, and so they leave her at the place that she just tried to get away from.
And we
cut back to AJ.
Yeah, so while she's doing all this, AJ's having his own little
Mama
adventure.
left, and then AJ runs out and guess he gets his cell phone back and is trying to use it through the tunnel, and Big Mama slowly comes out of the darkness, and so he runs because that's what he does, and he gets close to a room that has a string and a bell on it, and Big Mama comes into view very slightly, and then she backs away.
She doesn't want to go near that room.
It's like the aliens chasing Ripley up until the Queen's lair.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, we don't. He didn't ring. We don't go in there.
We don't go in there.
I'm sure he has trained her. Okay.
Oh yeah, he wasn't gentle.
Oh God. So we go into the room and we find, our boy Frank.
He's still alive. He's Grandpa Joe at this point.
The yellow dress that we saw on the woman in the flashback scene. It's displayed in a box. I see Frank in the bed, and I'm immediately going, okay, it's Hills Have Eyes. It's the X-Files episode of Home. Got it.
I was thinking of the X-Files episode a lot.
Frank has yellow sheets.
How dare you call him out
and
like
so here's where I'm going to go off the rails again. So okay,
Buckle up.
Buckle
It'll be
up.
short. So is this a reference to the King in Yellow?
No. Next question.
Shutting it
Well-
down. He's the king on yellow.
Elaborate.
I don't know why else you would have yellow sheets.
Because he's nasty and he just sits in
He
them all
probably
the time.
Could be.
smokes. It could be
Literally
They're
piss.
very
never
yellow.
washes
I don't
them.
know. I saw the yellow sheets and I thought,
He's
oh,
sick. It's yellow
King in
with
Yellow.
sickly.
Madness, corruption.
Yeah.
The
I
madness
see
is
what-
there.
I like what you're doing.
I think it was just to impart dinginess.
Agreed.
Dingy,
Yeah, that's what I think.
dirty, dankness.
But in a world where we're in
There
a
are
snake
no
tunnel,
coincidences.
Now, if she had pulled the King in Yellow out of the luggage,
That's
instead
two
of
on the
Jane
nose.
Eyre,
And Jane Eyre wasn't.
We had to go dig Jane Eyre up.
And then we see his rack of home recordings with the names and the titles. And you had some titles on there you want
There's
to talk about?
Toothless. There's
Rugrats Go to Paris.
Oh yeah, there's that Rugrats Vacation one.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever happened to Rugrats?
They grew up, and that was
Oh.
weird. That was all you had for the movie titles.
I think I
don't
threw
know where to
them
go
off.
with that, Daniel.
Well, okay, I didn't remember any of the titles, but you seemed like you were excited about it earlier. It was just clearly, though, all
There's-
the home
it's like
movies he made of the women
they call
he
them like there's
kidnapped.
Doesn't Stop Crying, Homeless, Junkie, just his. I don't know. Those were the titles.
So clearly setting up that he has a pretty decent
We find the
success
home
rate.
movies. AJ is like talking to Frank, saying, "Oh, don't worry, buddy. I'm gonna call the police. Everyone's gonna come down. We're gonna get you out of here. Everyone's gonna know what's going on down here."
So does he think that Frank
Yes.
is a captive?
Yeah, he thinks Frank's another victim.
Because again,
yeah.
AJ, not observant, self-obsessed.
Yeah.
I think at one point during this conversation with him, he's starting to get frustrated with Frank. He says my favorite line in the movie. I'm talking to you,
That's
you fuck.
after he sees the tape.
Frank is requesting him to get something like out of the drawer or something, but Frank can't talk at this point. So he's just making noises and kind of like trying to gesture towards his little side shelf as best he can.
Yes.
Right? And does AJ bring that closer?
AJ brings
to
the
him?
side, the drawer
Yeah.
shelf over to him, the table.
Right, and we don't know why he wants that. We're assuming it's because he wants a drink, is what
I
AJ
assumed he was
thinks.
getting a weapon.
That's what I
That's
thought.
what I thought, but AJ seems to think he
AJ's,
wants a
AJ's an
drink.
idiot.
not
AJ's an
thinking.
idiot. I'm sure at this point AJ's thinking like, okay, another non-conforming bedroom.
He's like measuring how big
He's
the room is with his
visually
eyes.
counting the steps. All right, I can add another 12 feet to my listing.
Do I have to fully disclose that
Yeah.
there's a creature? I don't.
I wonder
think
how much I can get
so.
for those cages. A pit's definitely going to increase the value.
Ooh.
So he pushes in a tape and starts watching what Frank has been getting up to for the past 50 years or so. And AJ gets very. He thinks this is just unacceptable.
Yeah, he drew the line there. He doesn't like that kind
Right.
of rape.
That's the
So
wrong kind
that's
of rape.
clearly a no-no. What he did was just persuasion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Forceful persuasion. Very
he
different.
rolled
yeah,
a
yeah.
20 after 20
Yes.
times.
His DM was kind and let him keep
Yeah,
trying.
He had luck.
But so at this point, I thought Frank was gonna shoot AJ.
Yes.
You did not.
I did not.
I thought, or at least try to. I didn't think he was actually gonna kill him, but I thought he was gonna at least wing him.
Okay.
I thought he was going to
Well,
shoot him.
that is what he ends up doing, which surprised me.
Yeah. At that point, yeah, I don't know. He can't go do rapes anymore, which I mean, I guess that's bad for him.
Yeah, that's real sad when you can no
when you
longer
can't
do a rape. I'm really feeling for him.
Look, they didn't make me care for Frank at all. That's all I'm saying.
They could have done more to make me sympathize with the rapist. Yeah, you're right.
Frank shoots himself, and AJ, even though he clearly was disgusted by Frank, he still was like, "Hey, don't do it, man." Which I'm just like,
I think he just didn't want him to do it because of the noise.
But now AJ has a gun.
Oh, and
AJ's
AJ's
got
a crack
a
shot
gun.
with that gun because, yeah. So Tess, oh god damn it, Tess. Tess comes back, gets in her car,
Once more into the breach,
and the
old
sun
friend.
has gone down, so all the vampires and monsters can come out.
Yeah. She breaks into the house because remember the
breaks
house
through a
is locked,
window.
to get her keys. Yeah, she goes into the house to get her keys, She gets in the car, and we're all hopeful at this point that she's going to drive the fuck away.
Big Mama! This is Big Mama's house, and Big Mama comes bursting out that front door.
Like, I'm going to get my baby
like the
back.
giant queen alien just coming at you. But, Tess, I'm like, Tess, please, do it. Yep. Rams her in the car, like, into the house, the side of the house.
Yeah. And then leaves her there. And that's when you're always like,
well,
no!
But, I mean, Big Mama did that tearful, like, death kind of look, so...
It's the same thing that the Bigfoot and
Abominable. They did not watch Abominable.
Or listen to us talk about Abominable.
She pancakes Mama into the house, and now she's going to go save AJ. So we got her running down into the tunnels. We got AJ. I've got a gun now, so I'm coming back out of the room going through the tunnels. AJ hears the noise, and I think, rightfully so, shoots without verifying the target because, as far as he knows, the only other thing down here is Big Mama.
No, he doesn't know she's escaped.
Also, it would assume she's either still under the grate, but he wouldn't assume she's just running around.
Yeah, you're right. He makes the right choice, I guess. It's just us viewers knowing that it's the wrong choice.
His character, to me, I don't know. It's sometimes it's inconsistent, or maybe it's always he's trying to do what will make him look the best. Because when he shoots her,
that's what
shoots
it is,
her,
yeah.
But thankfully he's shot her like in the stomach. And as we know from every movie, stomach,
thankfully.
Long time to die. So instead of leaving her there, he helps her up and gets her out of the house.
Every time he fucks up like this, and you can tell this is something that happens in his life, he's immediately like apologetic, but he thinks that's okay because he's apologized. Like,
well, it's not his fault.
Yeah,
it's her fault.
It's not. Yeah, it's like you're not going to hold this against me. Like, I'm helping you out now. I'm doing the right thing here. I've always done the right thing here.
Yeah.
And like he thinks like everyone's going to have this super short memory of it, and that comes back at the end, and I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he shoots he shoots Tess, which I loved, and then because she comes back in to help him, and I'm just like, that's what you get, Tess. Stop going into that fucking house. This is the second time you have gone back into this house after you know weird shit happens in this house. So, Tess, that's on. She acknowledges that it's bad.
Is that a metaphor for people going back into like destructive relationships?
Cycling right back into a yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give it to you. I was just gonna say she's just too caring and wants to
also,
help
it lets
people
the
out.
movie continue.
That
There's
too.
that as well.
That as well. So we get back outside of the house and we see that Big Mama is no longer pinned between the car and the house. And is this where Andre comes back?
Tess directs AJ to the water tower. Oh, they go to sweet Andre's hiding spot.
They seek him out.
Yes, because earlier he told her that he lives over at the.
They drag their problems to him.
Right, so they get there. And they're talking about it, and they're like, oh, the crazy lady in the house. And then Andre's like, that's not just a crazy lady living in that house. And then talks about Frank, and he's like, he made babies with babies. And so that's when I'm starting to think, like, wait a minute. So Mama is clearly one of his kids, not one of the kidnapped ladies. He's one of his kids with the kidnapped ladies.
I think this is a grandbaby.
Yeah.
Literally a kid of a kid of a kid.
A kid of a kid. That's kind of where I was, going with that. So how old is the
Andre
mother?
thinks she's been there for 40 years.
I don't think that math lines up. Unless he's been doing that stuff for a long time.
Right, so let's assume...
Like before we see him.
He's been doing it before we
that.
saw him, for sure.
He's been kidnapping women before we saw him, but maybe when he's buying the supplies, that's the first home birth. Like, that's the first birth.
Yeah, okay.
But if that's the case, what the Reagan era, when did that happen? Refresh me.
Yeah, insert time and date here.
70s, maybe? Sure,
70s.
I don't know.
So maybe he has a baby then, and then I guess he could have another baby with that baby when it's
14?
like, I don't know, 15 or 6. Yeah, well, 14. And then he could have another. He could probably go through 3 iterations.
Hey guys.
He's getting them. Yes?
Reagan is 89 to 89.
Oh, God. That's why the 80s were so good for horror.
Sorry, grade
because
school.
Because you had that repressive government.
I'm just trying to think of how many he could have possibly had. how far down the inbreeding gene pool do you have to go to get a mother? Is what I'm trying to get at.
I don't think the timeline really works.
I don't think it does either.
but-
And I don't know that Andre necessarily knows the timeline.
He might not know. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think he does. I'm just trying to put together in my head.
How long it would take to create a creature
Yeah, how
like
many
that?
levels we have to go down before?
I don't think that would ever happen.
I think this is a granddaughter, and not
Okay.
a great granddaughter.
Fair enough. And my note on this was when we're establishing that he's probably breeding with his own children is, he literally said "fuck them kids," and then I'm like, no, that's not okay.
And then you decided to say it anyway.
I did. It's in the notes. And then, so we're having the
Oh
little
my god! And
campfire
AJ
stories.
is so loud.
And Andre says, "I've been living here 15 years, and she ain't ever coming this mother."
Big Mama Kool-Aid Man
Kool-Aid
crashes through the
Man.
wall, rips homeless man apart, starts beating him with his severed arm.
Oh my god.
She busts through that solid cement wall.
It is amazing.
Oh my god, it was so good. We're almost getting to my favorite shot.
Oh,
of the whole
well, hold on,
movie.
because if you remember, like way at the beginning when it was just Keith and Tess, and they're talking about the relationship problems, Tess said, guys get to blast their way through life making messes, and girls have to be careful. But then we see Big Mama just blast through a wall. Love it.
She was
Love
being
it.
careful. She didn't
Love
go through
it.
the barbed wire. Poor Andre was just trying to do the right thing, which that's the moral of the movie, is don't do the right thing. or you get
All
screwed over and
doomsayers
destroyed.
die.
All
That's just what
doomsayers
happens.
die. They take off running, they get to the fence, but they didn't go to the right part of the fence, so they don't know how to get back out because there's a hole in the fence. So AJ panics. He starts running up the stairs in the water tower. You do not ever run upstairs unless there is a way to get out. That is like rule number 1.
He has a backup plan.
But he thinks on his feet. So Tess, who again has been shot in the stomach by AJ, is taking much longer to get up the stairs because of that. AJ's just taking off, which I'm like, oh man, that's the worst thing AJ's gonna do for the rest of the movie is just run off without Tess. Well, okay, so AJ is on the top and he's looking down. Tess is still going up the stairs. AJ sees, okay, Mama's coming now. Like, hey, you gotta hurry up. Tess is like, AJ, you have the gun. I don't think she knows his name, but she's like, yeah, you have the gun. And he's like, oh yeah, the gun. And pulls it out and starts fumbling with the damn gun.
Oh my god.
And then drops the gun off the water tower. And they're both just like,
When he had a knife in the tunnels, he also did the same thing. He pulled the knife out and had shaky hands and dropped the knife and had to pick it back up. So he's a Butterfingers under pressure.
Classic Butterfingers. So then Tess makes it to the top. Mama's still coming. AJ and Tess are both like, yeah, this is it. We're going to die.
Well,
Like, we are both going to die. And then Mama gets up near there and AJ has
Daniel,
a
what's his plan?
Throw this
Come
bitch
get your baby.
off.
Yep, we both don't have to die. She wants her baby, drags Tess's to the edge, and chucks her off. So now the camera is down. We're following Tess off the water tower, and the camera's looking up. And this is my favorite shot. The mother, Big Mama, diving over the edge of the water tower after Tess. It is beautiful. It is perfect. It's a 10 out of 10. Even the Russian judges gave
The
her a 10.
last time I was this surprised, I think, was when the kid got eaten in Feast.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Sure, that's a movie.
Yeah, it's great.
She dives over. She gains ground, or she gains air on Tess.
I don't know. You guys didn't think that looked silly?
It was
Yeah.
very unexpected.
I laughed so fucking hard. It was so over the top.
I think it's okay to laugh.
That was the key moment where the movie really admitted what it was this whole time. I think, like, I know what the fuck I am. She makes that leap. She catches up air. She envelops Tess, and then rotates to where her body takes the brunt of the fall.
Now I'm unconvinced that this would save someone unless she was like a witcher. She has ingested this mutagen milk.
I mean,
yeah.
And now
Daniel,
she's
she
improved.
survived getting pancaked against the house. She's ripping.
I'm talking about
Oh.
Tess.
Oh yeah, he's
Well,
only
yeah.
talking
Well,
about
Tess is smashing up. I think it. Oh, come on. Suspend your disbelief a little bit here. We had Big Mama running through tunnels. and this is the
I got
part
no
you're
problem with
calling
that.
out? I would
do
know
that
how
all
to
the
feel
time.
about tunnels and snakes, and this is where you're busting this movie's balls? Come on.
Oh my lord! That shot.
It's perfect.
That will forever live rent free in my head. So AJ at this point is like, oh, it worked. So he goes back down the water tower. He finds the gun after he finds the way out of the fence, and then he either walks over there or he sees Tess moving and walks over there. But he notices that Tess is alive. So
he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean. I accidentally. You slipped. I didn't."
He's like, I had no choice. You understand, right? You understand. We were both gonna die. I had no choice. And then he starts to pick her up, and he says, "I'm saving you." The shot of him like kind of lifting her up a little bit, leaning towards like face to face. I would have been perfectly okay if for some reason she had a raw egg in her hand and just smacked it on his head, because that would have been just so appropriate for me. And then, so he's getting her up, and then, well, guess who else isn't dead?
Andre?
Andre might be fine. We don't know.
Big Mama is not happy.
Yeah, she Game of Thrones his head.
She puts her thumbs through his fucking eyes.
Some nasty goo come out.
Turns his head into a jelly. And then wants to check on her sweet baby.
Oh, my baby.
This is where we have like Tess doing like Friday the 13th Part 2 psychology on Big Mama. Just be like, no, Mama, I can't go back to the house. No, I can't. I can't. Big Mama kisses her fingers and then puts the kissy fingers on Tess's forehead.
And then sweet kiss.
Baby kills Mommy.
Mama like lets baby take the gun because Tess can reach the gun.
I have a different take on this.
I also have a different take. She doesn't know what a gun is.
It's Frank's
Your
gun.
take is she's letting Tess do it on purpose. And I think Daniel and I are going, I think because of the environment she was raised in, even though it's Frank's gun, I don't think she knows what it actually does. And so she doesn't know
100%.
it's a weapon that can be used.
I don't disagree
Both
with
are
that
good.
take.
One is, you know what? It's okay, baby. Peace out. No more breast milk for you.
One is more poetic, the
And
other's
then
more
the other
literal.
one is more naive about what's about to happen. More tragic.
Pushes the gun to her head and pulls the trigger, and now she's Mama. Ooh. And then we just cut hard to the credits. But then we cut right back. Tess getting up, starting to trudge the fuck out of there. They're playing that song. Was it the Be My Baby?
Something like that, yeah.
Look. Yeah. It's like I love horror movies that end with like the survivor like trudging out to just some play out music. Like, yeah, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So let's just trudge along.
Did you guys watch all the
Yes.
way through the credits?
Oh, where you saw the surprise?
Okay, it was
baby?
actually hidden in between text of the credits, and you have to look at it at a certain time of night.
It actually said Mutant Baby will return in
Boogaloo.
Barbarian 2.
Cruise control. Tess walks out through the dawn like a boss.
I bet she still.
I bet she gets to make her own documentary.
Yeah, about that.
AJ got his just desserts.
Yeah.
AJ
He
was
got
not a
turned
good
into pudding.
human.
So, I mean, but what'd you really think of the movie, Daniel? Did you like this, or are you still on the fence?
Oh, I'm not
Okay,
on the
I
fence
figured.
about this one. I loved it.
Oh, I knew you both were gonna absolutely love this movie. There was no doubt.
The
in my
creature
heart.
suit for Mama is, I mean, he's going for John Carpenter. He's good. Yep.
Like, the weird thing is, like, this movie could have gone in, like, 6 different ways, and I think I would have liked them all.
Oh, there were at least 3 different movies within this movie. It kept trying to set us up for something, and then it just kept doing something different.
Having loved this movie, what could we possibly recommend that's in the same vein? Hills Have Eyes. That
The
X-Files
X-Files
episode.
Oh, I was thinking about Don't Breathe a lot.
Don't Breathe. I mean, there's a lot of basement action in there.
Yes, yeah, I see where you're going with that, Daniel.
Other weird situations in houses. Maybe the people under the
I
stairs.
asked People Under the Stairs. I was thinking that too. Good one. Keep naming them. I'll say I also thought of them.
Honestly, I would go down the list of any horror with Justin Long. I mean, Jeepers Creepers, which he also got his eyes taken out in that. Drag Me to Hell.
Tusk is a good
Tusk. Has he done any more than that? But yeah, anything Justin
I'm going to
Long.
throw out Hatchet, the Hatchet movies.
The Creature reminded me of Hatchet a lot.
I think The Marrow, maybe?
Yeah, okay, I'll give you The Marrow. That's a good movie.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, Shawshank. Tunnels. Anything with tunnels.
Anything with tunnels.
Movie.
Ooh, were there any serpent?
The Descent.
No, not that one.
I mean, it's underground. It's monsters. Sure.
Resident Evil 7.
Actually, I'll allow that. I mean, there you go. You got some Texas
Texas Chainsaw, of course.
I do have a bit of a bummer as of right now about this movie.
Oh, okay.
What's the bummer?
As a few weeks back, it was pointed out that there was no physical Blu-ray release planned for Barbarian at the time.
Oh, thank God.
What do you mean?
I thought you were going to say someone in the cast turned out to be a pedophile or like something horrible.
Justin Long turned out to be a serial rapist,
Something like
unfortunately.
that. So, no Blu-ray. I mean, my heart is sad, but could have been a lot worse.
If you don't get that Blu-ray, you're not going to get the behind the scenes where the director talks about, well, we had this whole mutant baby subplot.
You're not. You're really not.
And let's talk about tunnel snakes. That's a bit of a bummer. A fun little story that I seen pop up on Twitter the other day, and they're reposting it here so I can actually reread it. Richard Brake, the guy who played Frank, he went to a late night screening of the movie, and there was a group of teenagers sitting behind him that were apparently really into the movie. And when it was over, they were all leaving the theaters, and they're using the flashlights on their phone to kind of see better to leave out there. And they caught him in the flashlight, and they recognized him, and they freaked out and ran away from him. Okay, guys. Well, I think we're all in agreement here. This has been a fantastic movie that we love talking about, and what we really want to recommend is just go watch this movie when you get the chance. But we are definitely done talking about Barbarian, I think, for now. This is the part where I jump in here to tell you about our next episode, which is a little gem from 2009 called The Last Lovecraft, Relic of Cthulhu. Some of us love it, some of us hate it. You can go find out for yourself by watching it for free on Tubi right now. And we are opening up our Twitter, which is at Horrorble OP. That's HORRORBLEOP on Twitter. And our questions email, which is horriblequestions@gmail.com. That's HORRORBLEQUESTIONS@gmail.com to have any sort of interaction you want to have with us. Your questions, complaints, suggestions. You want to just say hi. You want to feel like you're part of the team. Hey, we're here to listen. So send us your messages. Any and all of them. With that, we're going to sign off. As always, I've been your horrible host, Kenny.
I'm your little mutant baby, Daniel.
That mutant baby was real. I'm Ryan.
Goodbye from the Tunnel Snakes.